In every woman's journey, there's a story untold.
My name is Doris Amsterdam. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. I currently reside in Florence, South Carolina.
A story of resilience, heartache, and the will to rise.
When I look in the mirror, I see a beautiful person. I see someone who has a great future ahead of them. I look to change on the inside. The brokenness I feel from my family separating.
Locked away in a marriage that stripped her of freedom and the children she loved. Here we go. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to spin you around.
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh my gosh. The first few months were fun. Like, we were just working, partying, and
Right. Was love at first sight?
It wasn't love at first sight, but we connected pretty quickly, and that's just when it all started. Hi, my name is Doris Amsterdam. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. I currently reside in Florence, South Carolina. I've been working as a nurse for 12 years, and it's a privilege to be a part of this show today. I believe our experience shape who we are, and I'm excited to share my story with you today. I feel like I'm in a very happy space in my life right now. I've been struggling for years in an abusive, toxic relationship, also a narcissistic relationship with my husband, soon-to-be ex-husband. The emotions I carry right now are excitement, gratitude. I'm happy to be on this journey. I feel like I have so much to look forward to in this new journey that I'm starting.
You ready, girl?
Yeah. I'm feeling excited to begin this new journey. I'm looking forward to, changing my look. And I feel like if you look good, you feel good. I'm hoping to feel even better than I feel right now. I'm hoping to feel just joy and excitement and just ready to go out there and face the world with my brand new look. I hope this transformation says to the world, she's here, she's not going anywhere anytime soon, and she's a strong woman, and I just hope that people just accept the new me. I think it will allow me to look back once I, get to a point to where I want to be. I have goals and other things that I want to accomplish in life, and I will get to look back on my journey and see how far I came. And I'm sure it'll make me feel excited and just happy inside.
So are you ready?
Yes.
Another moment has come. So here we go. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to spin you around.
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
It's so pretty because I know you normally wear short hair.
Yes.
And to see you in long hair, it looks so beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Girl, you be slaying me every time.
Every single time. Everyone has a story worth sharing. A story that defines who we are, where we've been, and where we're going.
I started thinning, and then one day, I said, well, maybe I want to start over. So I cut them off, only to find out that I couldn't grow my hair back.
On the Felicia Inspires Show, we believe in celebrating the beauty within and bringing it to the surface.
And I look at myself in the mirror, and all I see is a shaved head. And then I say, I'm more than my hair.
If you could see him right now,
I did.
what would you say? that could give you closure.
I got closure because growing up, everybody sheltered me to protect me because he went to prison for this.
Hey, sweetie, now I know when you go in here today, I need you to be calm and focused, but be confident, and I want you to just tell your truth. I think it's a lot of things you need to say that everybody needs to hear, okay?
So join us on the Felicia Inspires Show, where you can share your life and your beauty. Now let's reveal some of the beauty stories that make us who we are.
I am a strong Black woman. I've been through a lot in the past 41 years. I'm a mother first. Well, I'm a woman first. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a, wife, but soon to be ex-wife. I'm a nurse. I wear many hats, and just here to tell my story.
Okay, well, I don't want to wait any longer. So give us a little background of your upbringing.
So I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I grew up with both of my parents. I had a pretty good childhood. I went through some traumatic experiences while I was growing up, but I'm not going to discuss that right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Fast forward, I went to college for a little while after I got out of high school. That didn't pan out. I dropped out, and my life went all over the place for a minute. I was just from state to state. I was moving from North Carolina to Georgia to South Carolina back to Jersey. I was all over the place. I decided to become a nurse, and I graduated in 2012. I became a nurse, and me and my family moved down here in 2019. My husband and my 3 children.
Okay, and we're going to back up just a tad to your early adulthood experiences. How was your adulthood that led you to spin, wild?
Well, it all started when I met my husband.
Okay.
Back in 2009. We went on one date and then we moved in together. And we've been together until this year. But we had a lot of ups and downs. He became abusive early on in our marriage, in our relationship before we got married and had kids.
Okay. And just before we get into that, let's rewind back. So upon meeting him, how did you guys meet?
So I was actually a security officer in the building that he lived in, and I was studying to get into nursing school.
Okay.
I was studying for the exam, and I was downstairs, and he came down off the elevator to collect his mail, and I was singing, and he came over, and he was like, "You got a pretty voice, and what's your name?" And that's how we started talking, and we exchanged numbers, and we went out on a date probably like a week later. And then we moved in together.
Would you say it was love at first sight?
It wasn't love at first sight, but we connected pretty quickly. And we just had a fun time together. And I don't want to make this all about bashing him, but this is just to tell my truth.
Most definitely. And you definitely have to walk in your truth and live your purpose, because that's your healing. That's your breakthrough. And when you relieve that, you actually find healing within that process. So this is something that's essential to get through it.
Yeah.
So even with you guys meeting early, how was those first couple months? Because you don't really know a person until you live with them.
Right.
How was that first night living with him?
It was actually fun. The first date was fun. The first few months were fun. We were just working, partying, and
Right.
So that was it. We just had a really good time. We were both young. We didn't have any children, and we were just living life. But I still had a focus. That was the difference between me and him.
Would you say he derailed your goals?
Yeah. Because it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I wanted to finish school, then get married, then have children. And, when I met him, he told me that he was going to go to school too. And, when we got together, he didn't, but I got into school and I got through school. And that's when it all started.
When you say that's when it all started, what started?
The fighting, I got pregnant, and he made it hell for me. He didn't want me to finish school. He didn't want me to become a nurse. He tried to get me to drop out so many times, but thankfully I made it through. I did withdraw until I had my baby, and then I went back after I had my baby and I finished. Thanks to my mom, because she's the one who helped me through, because he wouldn't help me.
So did the fighting go throughout your entire pregnancy?
Yeah.
The first time he hit you, what was going through your mind?
So the first time he hit me, well, actually he hit me pretty on in a relationship, like probably a month into our relationship, but I kind of just chucked it up to, I made him mad, and we were just like, we got out of control, and I don't think he really meant to hit me that day. But the time when he really hit me for the first time was when I was 2 months pregnant. He choke slammed me. He got drunk. He went out and he got drunk, came home, and I was mad, because he came in the house really late, and he got mad at me for being mad at him, and he started to fight me. He choke slammed me, and that's just when it all started.
Now
Abuse.
After that happened, what was your mental state?
I was all over the place. I was trying to figure out, should I abort this child? I felt like I didn't want to be with him anymore, but I didn't want to get an abortion. And I started Googling adoption, put my child up for adoption. I was just like all over the place. I was so confused. And I know that I wanted to bring my children up with a mother and father. So I just sacrificed and I stayed with him through all the hurt and pain, all the fight and arguments, everything.
Did you tell your family what was going on?
No. Not at first.
What was your fear?
I didn't want to be judged.
And how did you see him after that first initial fight? Like, how did you look at him? How did you view him? Because love is not supposed to hurt. So how did you feel that next day, and how did you forgive him, or how did you guys get back on good terms?
So a lot happened after that. I called someone and he ended up getting beat up, and we separated for a few days, but it was never the same because he held that against me, that he got beat up. He would never say, you got me beat up because I put my hands on you. He would just say, you got me beat up. So he held that against me. He punished me for that, time and time again. And that's, I found out he started to cheat on me, and it just kind of spiraled.
Now, what do you think drove him to having these kind of behavioral problems?
I believe his age had a lot to do with it. When we got together, I was 26 and he was 22. And also he's from a different country. He's from Guyana. So we were raised different. We cut from two different cloths. And I feel like I was way more mature than him. I had already been in a long-term relationship before I got with him. So,
did you recognize any red flags leading up to this?
I did. The red flags were all there in the beginning. When I first met him, he told me he was 26. When I told him I was 26, he told me he was 26. And then I asked him about his car. He said his car got stolen. And then I asked him about his job, and he said that he was on vacation. He had to take vacation before they took his time. And then, I asked him about his license. He told me he lost his license. Come to find out, after we moved in together, he didn't have a license. He didn't have a job. That wasn't his apartment. After I gave up my apartment to move in with him, come to find out it was his father's apartment. He had got fired from his job. I found out he was only 22. He never had a license. So all the red flags was there. But as I was finding this stuff out, I was already connected to him, and I was like, we can still make it work.
And what prevented you from walking away in that moment?
After I found out all of these things, it was just something about him. We had fun together, and I was still immature myself. So even though I had already been in a long-term relationship, I was still immature.
Now, when did you begin recognizing the narcissistic behavior?
This didn't happen till years later when I realized and found out about narcissism and things like that. My sister passed away in 2022, my only sister. So she found out she had cancer on January 3rd. I brought her to my home on February 9th on hospice because they said it was nothing they can do, that the cancer was too far gone. And he started accusing me of cheating, even though that wasn't the appropriate time. I wasn't cheating on him, but it wasn't the appropriate time. I asked my parents to come to the house to surround my sister while she was dying, and he chose to fight with me. And we got into such a bad fight. I ended up getting arrested that day.
Did he do this in front of the family?
In front of our children, everybody.
How did you feel, and what was the reaction of your children?
They were hurt. I was hurt. I was devastated. I couldn't, those last moments, those last days, I felt I didn't really get to spend with my sister because it seemed like everything had to be about him. Every event, every birthday, every holiday, every time somebody's going through something, it always turns into Ryan's time. Everything is about Ryan.
Now, I know you said that you wasn't able to spend as much time with your sister as you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want to say to her if you had one more opportunity to speak with her? What would you say?
I would say, I love you so much. I really regret not spending the time with you that I should have spent with you. And I'm sorry that you had to hear the things that you heard, during your last days and through your transitioning out of this world. It wasn't fair to her, and it wasn't fair to my nephew.
Do you feel like you carry a burden knowing that there are some untold things that you wanted to say to her?
Yeah, I struggled with it for a long time.
Would you say you're healed and you're past it, or?
Yeah, because I had a lot of time to reflect. I went through counseling. I talked about it. I have accepted her death. Finally, it took me a long time to accept the fact that she was gone. Yeah, I've accepted it.
Okay.
I hurt for my nephew still. I hurt for my mom because, he called the cops on me. He wanted my sister to be taken out of our home while she was dying. He was so angry. He wanted my parents to leave the home. He just made it a whole ordeal.
Okay, and even in that acceptance, and having him behave that way, did that draw the line for you?
It almost did, but the fact that he got me arrested for domestic violence, because I jumped on him. I was so angry. I was angry at the fact that my sister was passing away and my nephew was there, my parents were there, and he just, dismissed everything and made it all about him. He kept accusing me, and I just started hitting him. The cops was called. I was arrested.
Did they arrest him too?
No, they said he had a scratch on his face, so they arrested me. Instead of coming to get me out, my father came and got me out. He went and filed the order of protection against me and tried to get everyone put out, all my family put out the home, our home that we share together. And so when my dad came and got me from out of jail, I got back to the house. He called the police on me and said she's not supposed to be here. I put an order of protection out on her. I want her sister out my house. I want her parents out. I want everyone out my house except for my children. So, I was pleading with him, please, my sister's dying. Just please let her stay. And the cops was like, well, you're going to jail. because you're not supposed to be back here. And I started pleading with the police. So one of the police said, hold on, let me make a phone call. So he went in to call the supervisor. And to God be the glory, my husband didn't check off the box that I couldn't come back home. He only checked off the box that I couldn't harass or hurt him in any way. He didn't check off the box that I couldn't be at the house. So that saved me. So the police came back and said we could all stay there. And like it just went downhill from there. But what to answer your question, it would have been it for me. That would have been the last straw for me. But he wouldn't take I had filed for divorce actually. I had filed for divorce and he wouldn't lift the domestic violence charges off on me. And I'm a nurse. And it was going to impact my license and me working. So I got back with him so that he could drop the charges.
Okay, and just before we get into that, when you first got arrested, what thoughts were going through your mind as you were taken away?
I was crying. I was thinking mostly about my sister. Like I don't want her to pass away alone without me, because I know she wanted me by her side. Like it's just us two. I didn't want her to pass away without me being there. And then I was thinking to myself, I was sitting in a jail cell, like, you know, he's been arrested so many times for hitting me and beating me up. He even beat me up on our honeymoon and was kicked off the resort. And I never, you know, I always dropped the charges on him. I was just like, all right, I'll give you another chance. I'll give you another chance. I'll give you another chance. And you choose to do this to me when my sister died. My only sister. You have 7 other brothers and sisters. And you choose to do this with my only sibling. So I couldn't believe it.
And even knowing that, and every time that you would go back, how would he act towards you?
He would be so nice. He would say, you know, I'm in love with you, pretty cat. That's what he used to call me, pretty cat. He says, hey, I'm so in love with you, pretty cat. You know, I shouldn't have did what I did. I know it was wrong. He'll sweet talk me. He'll be nice to me. He'll cook for me. And like, I always have this hope, like he finally got it this time. He's gonna change. You know, he finally got it this time. This is it. You're gonna get better. But it never get better. I give it 2-3 weeks to max, and he's back to his regular ways.
Now, when he proposed to you, what was that moment like? And what made you say yes, knowing what took place beforehand?
Well, he proposed to me during after we had our second baby, our second child. And so in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going nowhere because I want my kids to be raised with their mother and father. And I was so miserable with him. I wasn't happy. But I was like, we're doing this. We're getting married. And that's just what it is.
Did you guys have a traditional wedding?
We had a big wedding.
Knowing that you're standing at the altar, it's your wedding day. And your family knows what's going on. Your friends know. What's going through your mind in that moment?
I was like in a twilight zone. I don't know. I can't explain to you. It's hard to explain. It's just like I was winging it. Like, maybe it's going to get better one day. But, you know, we're getting married. We're here.
And your parents?
My mom was really upset. But she always stuck by my side. So whatever I want to do, she's fine with it. But she didn't like it.
And having that mental battle, you look in the audience and you see all of the eyes that's there to support you. And you're looking at the man you're getting ready to marry. What was that feeling?
It was fake. It was all fake. I faked a smile. I don't know. It's just another day to me. And we just spent a lot of money.
Oh, okay. And I know you said that on the honeymoon, he acted out.
He beat me up. He choked me out.
What initiated that?
Well, we had a wonderful honeymoon. We stayed there for 8 days. And the day before it was time for us to go, we was going to pack. And so we could just spend the rest of the day having fun. He didn't like the way I was packing my suitcase. We got into it. And he started fighting me. Somehow, I don't know. We was tussling and I fell on the floor. And he started choking me. I had braces in my mouth. He was hitting me. Like cutting up my mouth. So I found a way to get away from him, and I got to the door and I grabbed the door and he yanked me back. He grabbed me back on the floor. I got up again. I got away from him, got out the door, and it was officers, like security officers all around the resort. So I started screaming for an officer, and then they came to our room, and then like they like separated us, and they separated him from me. And then I was telling them what happened. I was crying, and they told him he had two options: get locked up on the island or leave the resort. So he left, and he had to stay at the airport until it was time for us to fly back home.
And on that flight back home, how was that? How was that feeling? How was he acting? How were you acting? How was that interaction between the two of you?
I was hurt. I was crying. I was distraught, and he was just kept saying sorry. He's gonna make it up to me. We're gonna have another honeymoon, which we never did. I mean, we went on other trips, but he never made it up to me. Like, and he just kept saying he was sorry, and then we got home, and it was like it never happened.
You know, what drew the line for you to finally say enough is enough?
So a lot has happened from then till now, but from my sister passing, it was another incident. I started a trucking company for him, and that kind of like further tore us apart because of his ego. But what finally did it for me was back in June. Well, actually, I caught him cheating in one of the trucks last September, and he used to always tell me, "I'm going to make you lose your nursing license. I'm going to get your nursing license taken."
Now, as he would say these things to you, did that just raise up a red flag and say, "That's it. This is not"?
It did. And when we used to make up, I used to say, "Baby, why you keep saying that? Why you keep saying that to me? You're gonna get my nurse license again." It's like, I don't mean it. I just said to make you mad. So when I caught him in the truck with the girl, he made the girl press charges on me. I never hit the girl. I never hit her. She put a hoodie over her head, and I pulled the hoodie off of her head to get her face. And she was like, "Oh," she jumped out and she was like, "I'm calling 911. I'm calling 911 on your wife. She hit me, or whatever." So when the cops came, I showed them the video and everything. And then they still, I still got charged because they said you cannot put your hands on anyone in any type of way. So even though I pulled the hoodie off her head, that was still a form of assault and battery.
Wow.
So he made her press charges or whatever. But when she pressed charges, he was like, good for you. You know, now you know how it feels. So he says, because I got him arrested for all these years for putting his hands on me, you know, now I'm going to see how it feels. But I still took him back after that. I filed for divorce again. I dropped the divorce in January. And I knew in my heart I didn't want to be with him anymore. It was too much stuff. It's too many things that happened, and I wasn't in love with him no more. And I just couldn't give up the fact of having that family.
Okay, so you feel like that's what made you hold on.
Yes.
Even though he wasn't going to change.
Mm-hmm. So that was it. Once I took him back, it was like I knew anything he'd do, it was a trigger for me. So once he started being nasty towards me, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I said, that's it. I wrote him this long text message. I just told him, that's it.
And how did he respond?
Mad. He got really angry. Let's cut the grass together, pull the weeds and stuff. He got mad. He wouldn't let us cut the grass. He started arguing with me. He threw the furniture. I bought brand new furniture. He threw the furniture in the lawn. He broke the garage door. He pulled the gun out, and that's when I called the cops. And I ended up losing my children after that in June of this year.
Now, when they took your kids into custody, what did he do? He didn't respond in any kind of way. He didn't care.
He didn't care. He called my cousins. I have twin cousins. He called them and he said, "Yeah, Doris, you see what Doris did? She got the kids taken." and I found the girl that I was talking to in the supermarket. He didn't find that girl. He knew that the girl that he was messing with, I'm not going to say her name, but she's a girl from our area that I caught him with in the truck. He told me to call my cousin and say, yeah, I found her in the supermarket. And I'm just like, I mean, he's weird. He does. I think he was in shock as well as I was in shock because the court said it like this, you know, we've granted you order of protection several times and you've dropped every last one of them. So that made them question my parenting. And can I keep my kids safe from him? So even though they granted me one this time, which I still have on him to this day, they say your kids can't stay with you.
Is that temporary or permanently?
It's temporary.
Okay.
So I have to take classes. I have to go through domestic violence classes, parenting classes, personal counseling, which I was already in, but I have to go to the one that they referred. It's a lot.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from that whole entire experience?
I've learned a lot of lessons, but I would say, you know, you can't put your all into a man, and that's what I did. I put him over God. I put him over my children. I put him over myself, and it just cost me a lot. It cost me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of heartache and pain.
And what advice would you give someone? What signs would you say are direct red flags that a person is a narcissist?
Oh gosh. First of all, if someone that I could go back from the very beginning. Someone who's always smiling and you know everything is always jolly, you know, and you know you're one way now, and then you know you get behind closed and you're a whole nother way. You gotta watch for that. And I used to see that when we first got together. You know, he's out in the open. You know, he's so jolly, so happy. Like, everybody loves him. You know, everybody's thinking he's so charming and handsome and funny and fun. But then when you get behind closed, he's like a monster. Like, red flag number one. Red flag number one. Just a person that's always taking. You know, jealous person, someone that's always talking about other people, never happy for other people. When I try to help, I'm a person that like to help people. I'm not a gatekeeper, and because I know how it feels to want help from someone else. So I love to help people, and when I help people, he gets so angry with me. You know, why are you doing that for them? You know, let them figure it out for themselves. You gotta watch. It's a lot of red flags. Like, he's like a walking red flag.
Do you feel any type of resentment?
I did, but slowly, as I continue to reflect and pray and meditate, and as the days go by, the weeks go by, you know, I had to take my ownership. You know, the part I played in, I had to realize the part I played in it. I didn't have to stay, you know, and like you said,
you don't beat yourself up about it, do you?
I used to, but not anymore.
No, the healed version of you now, what would you say to Doris? If you looked in the mirror, what would you say to yourself that would help you to press forward?
If I could tell the old me, I would say, don't be afraid. You know, trust in God. Pray and, you know, just keep moving forward. Don't be afraid to start over. And that was one of my main fears, starting over.
Do you think that your experience with him hinders you from future date, or?
No, because I've taken the time to reflect. Like I said, I've taken the time to heal. I know where I went wrong, you know, And I feel like if you don't take the time to heal and, you know, take time out to yourself, and you got to recognize where you went wrong. If you don't take the time to do those things, and, you know, you can't end up in a bad place and end up making the same mistake over and over again.
Now, through your eyes, looking into his eyes, what would you want to tell him about you that he didn't realize when he had you?
I would want to tell him you had a real one. You know, I was faithful to him. I would have did anything for him. He know that. I've done so much for him. I've given him so much. And I wanted to grow old with him, and he lost a good one.
And moving forward, what steps would you take to encourage someone else, to help someone else to get through this type of situation, how to recognize a narcissist? Because a lot of people don't know what narcissism is.
My definition of narcissism is someone who they lack empathy and accountability, and they just like to blame others. They take, and barely give. They lack feelings. They lack emotion. They have fake emotions. Yeah, so you have to watch out for those things.
What's the future, Doris? What's the vision for your future?
Well, in the midst of all that, once I finally decided to separate from him for good, once this whole situation happened, I started to focus on myself. So I started going to the gym. I started losing weight. I lost over 50 pounds.
Congratulations.
I feel better. Like I went through counseling. I give more time. I dedicate my time to God. I'm just in a better place. Like, I'm happy, and I never thought I couldn't see myself here. You know, these past years, I could not see myself in this place right now. And I thought I couldn't live without him.
Now that you're stronger, you're healed, and you're pressing forward, what would you say to your children once you guys are reunited? What is the first thing you're gonna do?
Well, I still get to see my children, just supervised. So wherever I take them, my mom has to go. So I still go and get them. We have a close relationship. I pick them up. I take them out to eat. We pray together. We go to church. I take them skating. I go out, take them out, play ball. Because they're already missing one parent. And I can't afford for them to miss both of us. And, you know, all the visions that I had for my family when we started our family, we're not gonna have that, and we haven't been having that. So I wanna do everything in my will possible to like give them what I feel they need to be strong men, to grow up into strong men.
Okay. And just to kind of wrap things up, you know, we do appreciate you for sharing your stories, because someone can be delivered just from hearing your story and have that strength to take a stand. And what kind of encouragement could you give someone?
First of all, pray. If you're a spiritual person, pray. Prayer. Read your Bible. Meditate. Be grateful. Be content with what you have right now. And if you have faith and you pray, you focus on God, you keep Him first, things will fall into place. And I'm a living witness of that. Things had to fall apart for me, but, you know, for me to look to God, to really look to Him and, you know, be faithful. But once I started doing that, things fell into place for me, and they're still falling into place for me. Things are getting better every day.
Awesome. And, you know, we're always here for you on the Felicia Inspires Show. We appreciate you. The world appreciates you for being vulnerable and being open and being emotionally naked. We appreciate you so much for doing that. You guys, we're going to follow up with Miss Doris. Stay tuned for the reunion. We're going to take a look into her future and see where she's at with her life, because she definitely is inspiring and she's a strong woman. And we thank you again for just being on the show. And
Thank you for having me.
you're welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.